They thought they had the perfect shot. It was March 22, 2025. A U.S. Air Force F-16 was flying on normal patrol above the Red Sea. The sky was clear, everything looked calm. Then suddenly, warning lights flashed red on the pilot's screen. Radar lock detected. Multiple signals. Missile launched. The pilot's training kicked in immediately. He pushed the stick hard right. The F-16 rolled fast. Flares shot out to confuse the missile. A heat-seeking missile fired from Houthi territory in Yemen was now chasing them. The jet dove down hard. Engines roared. From the USS Eisenhower aircraft carrier, operators tracked this fight in real time. The missile adjusted its path, following the jet's hot engine. 30 seconds until impact. The pilot pulled a super tight turn. The pressure was intense. He released more flares, bright and hot, to trick the missile. Boom. The missile exploded in the air. Too far away to cause damage. The jet was safe. But now the real question wasn't how the Houthis got so close. It was what happens when you attack a US fighter jet and miss. Because this wasn't just a fight. This was a trap. This missile didn't appear from nowhere. For weeks, the Red Sea had been tense. Ships were changing routes. US Navy destroyers patrolled everywhere. And the Houthi forces were getting bold, really bold. This wasn't their first try either. Just days before, they shot down a US MQ-9 Reaper drone off Yemen's coast. They posted the video online within minutes, showing the burning wreckage falling into the sea. That move didn't go unanswered, but it made them confident. Too confident. They thought attacking a drone and attacking a fighter jet were the same thing. Big mistake. The US had already warned them. Aircraft carriers moved into position. Destroyers were ready. But the Houthis, backed by Iranian weapons and training, believed they could keep pushing without real consequences. So when that American F-16 flew into their radar range, they fired. But this time, the jet fired back. That F-16 wasn't just randomly flying around. It was part of an intelligence surveillance operation designed to find missile sites along the Yemen coast. What the pilot didn't know at that moment, he was the final piece in a dangerous game of bait and trap. In recent weeks, the Pentagon changed the rules. No more waiting. If enemy radar locked onto a US aircraft, it was considered hostile. If they launched the missile, the response would be automatic and fast. The rules had changed quietly, but seriously. And the Houthi launcher made the worst mistake possible. It turned on its radar long enough to be seen. It fired once, and it stayed in place a few minutes too long. That would be its last mistake. Back on the USS Eisenhower, the pilot's emergency call wasn't just heard, it was recorded, analyzed, and turned into targeting data instantly. Live video feed, heat signatures, missile path, GPS location, everything. The payback clock started ticking immediately. At 28,000 feet, the F-16 was still flying fast, staying at the edge of Yemen's airspace. The pilot had barely recovered when his warning system lit up again. New contact, different angle. The first missile missed, but there was more. This time, it wasn't just one signal, it was many. Multiple radar locks coming fast. The pilot's radar warning system screamed in his headset, "Threat, SA-6, lock." An SA-6, that's an old Soviet surface-to-air missile, but the Houthis had Iranian copies with better technology, slow to set up, but deadly when active, and now they were locked on. The pilot grabbed the throttle, afterburners on, his other hand prepared more flares. Behind him, the jet's exhaust glowed white-hot, a perfect target for heat-seeking missiles. Viper 3, defensive, multiple locks, need support. Above him, a Growler electronic warfare plane was already jamming enemy radar, scrambling their systems. It gave the F-16 a bit of time. He pushed the nose down into a hard dive. The pressure pushed them into his seat, vision narrowed, but he held steady. Flares burst out like fireworks. The pilot rolled the jet at 700 knots, and just in time. One incoming missile missed by maybe 200 feet, close enough to shake the cockpit. But that was it. That was their only chance. What the Houthis didn't know, they were being watched the entire time. Way up high at nearly 60,000 feet, a Navy MQ-4C Triton drone had been circling in wide loops. It wasn't armed, but it didn't need weapons. Its job was to watch. and it saw everything. Heat spikes on the ground, electronic signals, exact locations, all sent in real time back to command and to the USS Eisenhower. The fight lasted less than 2 minutes, but the response would take hours. When the pilot returned to a safe area above the Red Sea, 2 more F-16s joined them for protection. Then came the call from command. Engagement confirmed. Target data locked. Hold position. Strike package coming. Translation: revenge was on the way. But even before more jets launched, the Navy wasn't wasting time. Deep inside an Arleigh Burke destroyer nearby, missile hatches were opening. Inside were Tomahawk cruise missiles, precision-guided, long-range, and ready. The launch order came in less than 5 minutes after the threat ended. Target Alpha, Fire 1, confirmed trajectory. 1 missile launched, then 2, then 4. Each one screamed up into the night sky, curving east toward the Yemen coast. And this was just the beginning. On the deck of the USS Truman, pilots were being briefed, weapons loaded, jets fueled. This wasn't random, this was standard procedure. The moment that missile launched, the US Navy had already planned it. The missile failed, but it gave the US Navy everything they needed: a confirmed location, a launch site, and exact coordinates. In modern warfare, that's all you need. Retaliation wasn't just coming, it was coordinated, layered, and lethal. While Tomahawks flew low over the waves, aircraft launched in sequence. First, an E-2D Howard aircraft for electronic monitoring. Next, 2 EA-18G Growlers to jam radar and scramble communications. Then the Hammers, 4 FA-18 Super Hornets loaded with precision bombs and anti-radar missiles. The targets were simple. Primary, missile launcher site. Secondary, suspected command post. Third, mobile radar spotted by drone. One by one, the Hornets launched from the carrier, wings loaded, engines roaring. As the strike group got closer, the Growlers began jamming. They broadcast across all frequencies, lighting up the radar spectrum. The Houthis probably had no idea they were being targeted until the first explosion. The Tomahawks hit first, the radar trailer gone, the launcher destroyed and burning. Then came the Hornets. From 28,000 feet, smart bombs fell, silent and accurate, impact after impact. Secondary explosions confirmed hidden ammunition and fuel. The final strike? An anti-radar missile locked onto the last radar signal from a mountaintop station. By the time it hit, the air was thick with smoke. Back in the cockpit of the original F-16, the pilot listened to the radio with quiet focus. No celebration, just confirmation. Target neutralized. Strike successful. Return to base. The sky over the Red Sea was calm again, but this time the silence was earned. The message was clear. If you launch at a US jet, you better pray it hits, because if it doesn't, the next thing coming isn't another missile, it's everything. Modern war is fast, but this was surgical. The moment the F-16's data locked onto that missile trail, the US Navy already had what it needed. Timestamps, coordinates, heat signatures, everything. They didn't just see it happen, they saw where it happened, and that changed everything. Inside the Combat Information Center on the Eisenhower, the mood shifted from defensive to offensive. No shouting, no panic, just clear voices calling out targets. Telemetry confirmed, launch grid locked, target Alpha hot. The commander didn't hesitate. Package Bravo execute. And with that, the revenge protocol kicked in. In Navy terms, Package Bravo isn't a warning, it's total destruction. It's a multi-level strike using cruise missiles, airstrikes, and electronic warfare together. The targets? Any defensive system that fires on US aircraft, and the Houthis just triggered it. From the destroyer 100 miles off Yemen's coast, vertical launch tubes opened. 4 Tomahawks launched in sequence toward confirmed missile launcher, mobile radar vehicle, command and control hub, and ammo storage. Each one programmed and on its way within 5 minutes. Meanwhile, on the deck of the USS Truman, the flight deck came alive. Steam across the launch catapults. Crew locked in bombs and missiles. Jets refueled with machine-like speed. Above it all, the E-2D Howard radar plane was already airborne, painting a real-time map of everything. 2 EA-18G Growlers roared into the sky. These aren't regular attack planes, they're flying blackout machines. Their job? Turn enemy radar into useless static. No locks, no guidance, just confusion. Following the Growlers came 4 FA-18 Super Hornets, fully loaded with smart bombs and radar-seeking missiles. High above, the MQ-4C Triton drone kept circling, silent, watching everything with thermal cameras, monitoring heat, movement, any attempt to escape. Data flowed from the drone to satellite to the Eisenhower's fire control team, ready to redirect strikes in real time if needed. This wasn't revenge, this was architecture. At 2:12 a.m. local time, the first Tomahawk hit. Missile Site Alpha, obliterated. Drones confirmed secondary explosions from stored ammunition. The heat stayed visible for over 20 minutes. 2 minutes later, Target 2, the radar truck, lit up the coast in orange flames. Its signal pinged one last time, enough for a missile to lock on like a bloodhound. Then, Target 3. The command post was buried in a hillside, covered with camouflage nets. Didn't matter. One smart bomb from 20,000 feet blew the door off. A second collapsed it completely. Target 4, the ammo depot, was a fireworks show. The F-18s dropped in low and fast. Bomb racks empty, they climbed back into the clouds. No losses, no alarms. Just silence and smoking ruins on the ground. While the physical strikes happened, the Growlers ran interference. They jammed every Houthi frequency, scrambled early warning radars, and created fake signals. In other words, while the Houthis tried to figure out what hit them, they couldn't even communicate. No radios, no signals, just fear, smoke, and blank screens. And that was that. They fired at a fighter jet, they got a war machine in return. The Houthis and their Iranian sponsors learned a brutal lesson. You might hit a slow drone with luck, but when you try the same on a fully armed F-16 or F-18, the response won't be another drone. It will be a synchronized, multi-layered counterstrike that leaves nothing standing. And that matters, because war isn't just about weapons, it's about perception. The Houthis lost equipment, but more importantly, they lost respect. They showed their hand, and the US didn't just block it, they crushed it with precision, steel, and electronic fury. Now, every Houthi radar operator will think twice before turning on their system, because they'll have to ask, is this the one that gets me killed? Even though the US didn't issue a press release, the world got the message. Satellite photos leaked, analysts noticed the patterns, news caught whispers, and every military power watching, China, Russia, Iran, took notes. The takeaway? You don't mess with US air power unless you're ready for a different game. One where the US doesn't just react, it redefines the battlefield mid-fight. After the strike, the carrier air wing shifted to full combat patrol mode. That means at least 2 armed jets in the air 24/7, circling, scanning, ready to respond within seconds. The Houthis thought they could fire at a fighter jet and get away with it. They were wrong, dead wrong. They didn't just lose a missile, they lost their playbook, their assets, and most importantly, their momentum. Here's a question for you. If you were in command that night, would you have stopped after destroying the launcher, or would you have gone further and wiped out every radar site along the coast? Be honest, be strategic. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one.